Hello and welcome to Russ's Movie Corner. My name is Russ, and as you can see, I'm sitting in front of my movie wall, and I'm wearing my Star Wars The Last Jedi t-shirt, and we're going to be talking about Star Wars The Last Jedi. Basically, I have a brand new video here. This video is called Disney Doesn't Understand Lightsabers. Well, I can tell you right now that this guy doesn't understand lightsabers, okay? So this guy really doesn't understand where he's coming from on this. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this video, and this is probably going to be like 3 or 4 parts long. I'm just going to put it all into one little playlist, and then I'm just going to share it to this video, and I'm just going to kind of, so if you want to go down in the comments and you want to go talk about it, that's fine. I don't care. This is just me coming out and defending Star Wars in general because I love it. It's wonderful, and I hate it when people like this kind of, act this way. Like they think that they are know-it-alls, or they think that they're doing it a certain way. And to be quite honest, it really makes me angry when people take lore that they really don't know. They really don't understand the lore behind things. So I'm going to try to keep these sessions down because a lot of people have been complaining and whining and stuff like that when I go and I do this on the YouTube and I say go to my channel and watch my videos and then you'll understand. And people are like, but they're like 2 hours long. And I'm like, you'll listen to a guy like this whine and complain for 13 minutes and get things completely wrong, and yet you won't go and check out my videos and watch me do things because they're too long. Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's like, it pisses me off. So without any further ado, let's jump into this, okay? And I'll pause it, and like I said, I'm going to keep it around about 30 minutes a session just so I can continue working and doing things, and so that way when I put them in the comments section, you guys will understand where I'm coming from. So that's the introduction. Without any further ado, let's jump right into this bitch.
Father's lightsaber. Elegant weapon. For a more civilized age. He was the best star pilot in the galaxy.
Now, I'm just going to say this. The editing here is really good. Like, I will say that, it's like he's kind of, learned from some other people who have posted up videos similar to this on YouTube, where they have some different things that they're going through, and they're talking about, he's talking about, of course, it's Obi-Wan talking to Luke about his father, because he never knew his father, and so it's almost like these are memories of Obi-Wan, and I think it's well done. I'll put that out there. This is where the shit hits the fan.
Father's lightsaber.
Okay, so I think first off I'm going to stop, and I'm going to say this. The reason why Rian Johnson had him go whoosh and just throw that thing over his shoulder is because we're seeing how far Luke has fallen, okay? That he's like, I'm not doing anything. I don't care that you brought me my father's lightsaber. I'm done. I'm done trying to train Jedi. I'm done trying to be a Jedi. I'm done being Luke Skywalker legend, okay? So yes, you brought me my father's lightsaber. I don't give a shit. That's basically what he's saying. He's tossing it over his shoulder because he's like, I don't care, man. We're done. We're done. This is it. Okay? So let's jump back into this, and we'll kind of listen to this guy because he's going to kind of start narrating here, and then we'll go from there.
Lightsabers, the coolest weapon of all time.
Now, I just want to say one thing. I'm going to get back to this fight in a minute. Okay, like in a couple of things, because we're gonna. My thing is this, okay? I love the original trilogy. I do. It's my favorite thing ever. But these fuckers are gonna make me shit on it to prove to them that the original trilogy isn't the shit. Okay? It has a lot of flaws in it. And the problem is, these people think of it as like, oh, it's the best cinematic movie series in history. Oh, it's got all this stuff. No movie is perfect. And I'm gonna shit on this so that you fuckers know what the hell I'm talking about. This isn't perfect. And right here, burn this into your memory. How the fuck is Darth Vader's lightsaber in front? If Luke is swinging from the left, then his should be on the outside facing the camera. Why is Darth Vader's facing the camera? Answer me that. Let's move on.
Well, they used to be. Before the dark times. Before... Is there a more iconic weapon than a lightsaber? It instantly...
Well, and it's funny that he should go, is there a more iconic weapon than a lightsaber? Using Rogue One. Which a lot of these people hate. But let me tell you something. It's a badass movie. All of them are. And they all use the lightsaber correctly. So we'll get into that. We'll continue working on that. We'll build on that foundation. Keep that in mind. Let's continue.
tells you what universe you're in. An amazing addition by George that added to the mystique of the Jedi and the Sith. They were part of being a...
Okay, this is actually, this sequence right here is a deleted scene from Episode 6. If you read the novelization of Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, okay, Luke is building this lightsaber in Obi-Wan's hut just after Vader comes to see Moff Jerjerrod at the Death Star 2, and then it was supposed to switch over to this sequence of Luke basically finishing up his lightsaber and turning it on. But George decided, and this was actually, if you watch the commentary on the actual DVD, George said that the reason why he cut that scene out, because I think John Knoll was like, man, I always wondered, like, how did Luke build that lightsaber, and we don't really get to see that. And George said, well, I filmed it, but I didn't put it on there because I didn't think that it was important at the time. I thought it was kind of an unnecessary scene because we figured he was going to build a new lightsaber, and so I wanted the reveal of his new lightsaber to be on the sail barge when he goes bing, and then he's like starting to slash through people, and that was kind of, everybody would be like, woohoo, yeah, go Luke, yeah, go man, go. And so that's why this scene was cut. Okay, so this is an actual deleted scene from Return of the Jedi, and if you own the original trilogy on DVD, special editions, some of the newer Blu-ray releases have this deleted scene as well. You can see it, and because he has all the deleted scenes that weren't added back in. And so you can see the scene, and you can actually, if you've read the novel, you'll know that this scene is in there. That brings up also Shadows of the Empire, because in Shadows of the Empire they changed that, which was one of the reasons why Steve Perry wrote it the way he did, was because this scene wasn't in the movie, and that's what he was going off of, was the movie. So at the end of the book, he actually inserts his lightsaber down into R2-D2, and then he stands back and he says, you know, my name is Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight, you know, blah, 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 and then he gives the whole spiel, and you see him carrying his lightsaber and all that kind of stuff, and so it was pretty neat. I always thought that was kind of a neat little thing, and we can talk about canonicity later, but I just kind of wanted to mention this scene of, this is Luke building his lightsaber at the beginning of Return of the Jedi. It's a deleted scene, it doesn't actually work that way.
Jedi, so much so that we are told that building a lightsaber is one of the final steps of a Jedi's training.
I see you have constructed a new lightsaber. Your skills are complete.
They were magical, and I wanted one.
That is your first lesson. Learn it well. The Force is my lightsaber.
Well, not anymore. Not only are they not special anymore, Disney doesn't even know how they work. Let's take a look. And yes, don't worry, we will get to that throne room scene. Oh, that's shit. For a start, I'm going to jump to the one thing that gets my little George Lucas fan club blood boiling. It's a lightsaber, not a laser sword. Sorry, Last Jedi defenders, I know this fits perfectly with space wizards.
A Star Wars lightsaber.
The Force lightsaber.
Star Wars lightsaber. New Star Wars lightsaber. Force action lightsaber. Star Wars electronic lightsaber. Force unleashed lightsaber.
I saw your laser sword. Only Jedis carry that kind of weapon.
I assumed little Anakin called it that because he lived on a shithole in the middle of nowhere and had heard about the Jedi and legend. Kind of like me pronouncing nunchucks and guessing which martial art they go with. Nunchucks? Nunchucks? Something like that.
I'm gonna walk out with a laser sword and face down the whole First Order.
Why would Luke call it that? He's been...
Okay, so, well, here, let me finish this one little part, and then we'll get to
told
this.
it to lightsaber his whole life.
Father's lightsaber.
The new lightsaber. His lightsaber.
Yes. A Jedi's weapon.
So, first off, Rian Johnson included laser sword for two reasons. One, callback to episode 1. Okay? It's called fan service. Okay? A lot of movie companies do it. Okay? It was sort of like how they started The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, with Bilbo. The old Bilbo, Ian Holm. Okay? Starting to write There and Back Again, A Hobbit's Tale by Bilbo Baggins. How do I start this? It's time for you to know everything, Frodo. So then he starts writing his whole entire adventure. So now we're seeing the entire adventure unfold, okay, as Bilbo's seeing it in his memory and he's writing it down in his book. And then it ends with Gandalf coming in, no, thank you. We don't want any more well wishes or distant relations. What about very old friends? And then he's like, Gandalf, oh my gosh, you're my friend. Because he's connecting it. This is a connection, okay? It's the same thing as Tony Stark saying, you don't get that Thanos has been in my head for 6 years since he sent an army to destroy New York and now he's back. The Avengers. It's a callback. Okay? That's number one. Number two, it's showing just how far Luke has fallen. That he's not calling it a lightsaber, he's calling it a laser sword. And is Rey gonna know the difference? Honestly? I don't even think she knows what the fuck it's called. Okay? So, yeah. I mean, what? She got it once in her entire life. Once. Okay? Maz Kanata says, it was Luke's lightsaber, and now it calls to you, and that's it. That's the only time she hears it. She's like, I'm not touching that thing. But she does. It's called foreshadowing. Now, I don't expect a YouTube personality to know anything about writing. Okay, but in writing, there is a thing known as foreshadowing. Okay? Foreshadowing is an event that happens that allows someone to move, to kind of show what's coming next. Okay? It's been done in every single Star Wars film. It's been done in a whole bunch of movies. Okay? Foreshadowing is a huge deal. Okay? It's something that happens everywhere you look. Okay? Well-written games have foreshadowing in them. Well-written movies have foreshadowing events. Okay? So, like, if you've seen Justice League, okay, the armor that Aquaman is wearing is not the Atlantean armor that he gets in the new Aquaman movie. It's a foreshadowing event. It's showing that he is getting ready for that. Oh wow, look at that. Foreshadowing. Okay? So yeah, I don't expect you to know what foreshadowing truly is. But the problem is that you're acting like, like Luke saying, "Oh, would you expect me to walk out in front of the whole First Order carrying my laser sword and, face him down?" Which is exactly what he does. And there's a reason for that. Again, it's called foreshadowing, okay? And why does he do it? Why does he do it? Why does he decide to force project himself onto Crate and walk out and face down the whole First Order? Oh yeah, that's right. Yoda shows up and smacks him in the face with his gimmer stick and is like, "Hey, you dumbass. You're supposed to be teaching people. I told you to pass on what you learned. Not just the good, but the bad, too. I failed, and I still trained your narrow ass. The hell, man? Come on. Wake up." The thing is, Luke has always run away. And three freaking mentions of lightsaber in his however many years of existence. Okay? 3 mentions in 3 movies. Literally. 3 mentions. The first time when Obi-Wan tells him, "Your father's lightsaber." Second, when his father says, "I see you have constructed a new lightsaber." Third, when he goes up to the Emperor and he says, "His lightsaber," and he hands it to him. That's it. That's all. 3 mentions in 3 freaking films, man. That's not his whole life. It's not like Obi-Wan was raising him on Tatooine and he was like, "Okay, now this is a lightsaber. Don't cut your hand off with it because the blade is deadly. Okay, it belongs to your father," and he's been hearing it his literal life. Okay? 3 mentions in 3 movies. That's not his whole life. It's 3 instances in 5 years of his life. If you want to get technical about it. Because the whole trilogy happens over the span of about 5 years. 3 to 5 years, depending on the timelines and all that kind of stuff. But generally there was like a year or 2 in between Episode 1 and Episode 4 and Episode 5, and then between Episode 5 and 6 there's only a couple months. Okay? 6 at the most, according to the original timeline. Now, the new timeline, I don't know, but it's still, there's not years in between. Okay? Because generally it's accepted that there was about 3 to 5 years between the events of Episode 4 and Episode 6. There was a span of about 3 to 5 years, depending on who you talk to and how they calculate things. Okay? So honestly, in 5 years of his life, in 3 to 5 years of his life, he gets 3 mentions of the word lightsaber. I think I can understand why he, after 30 years of not using a lightsaber, and probably a good 10 decade after his students died and he's been living on Acto by himself, he's gonna call it a fucking laser sword. Why? Because he doesn't give a shit anymore, you fucking idiot! My God, man! Yes, Anakin called it a laser sword because he didn't know any better at the time. Okay? Did Qui-Gon go, "Now listen here, son, it's called a fucking lightsaber, bitch. Fucking call it right"? No, he didn't. He took it in stride. Okay? So shut the fuck up about it. My God, man. Jeez, you're stupid. It's almost like you've never seen a Star Wars movie before this.
Is that a laser sword, Johnny? No, it's a lightsaber, you stupid fuck. This is why no one likes you. Yes, it's a fucking lightsaber, you twats. Some have said Luke called it a laser sword to show Rey how stupid the idea of him helping was. It worked. It sounded stupid. Hang on, that's what he ends up doing anyway. Oh well.
I don't walk out with a laser sword and face down.
Okay, again, this fight that's on Crate, number 1, delaying action. Okay? He was doing it so that they had enough time for the Resistance to get out before the First Order came in and destroyed everybody. And number 2, he doesn't actually fight Kylo Ren. Just saying. Okay? But it goes to show, because, I mean, he's doing all the fancy maneuvers and he's doing all this stuff. It goes to show that even if he hadn't been on Crate, he probably would have owned Kylo Ren. Kylo's not a fighter, dude. He never was. And we're gonna get back to this when we get back to the meat of the matter about The Last Jedi. We're gonna talk about this in great detail. Okay? And I will have my visual dictionaries, and I will have other things that I am going to own this guy so bad, he's never going to want to make another one of these. Ever. Okay? When I'm done, I'm going to light a fire under his ass so bad that he is not going to be able to sit down for a week. I am sick and tired of this fucking shit. Now, let's finish up the first part here, and then I will come back to this.
The whole First Order.
Let's look at the lightsaber and try and work out, why is Disney so confused? George gave us two versions of the lightsaber. In the OT, it was a mythical weapon linked greatly to the Force. The power of it was built up over time. The fights were more about the emotional weight than the skills. Two old friends meeting again. The depth of a father testing his son. The son trying to save the father. It's really not until the third film that we see Luke use the lightsaber in a controlled manner. And only once do we see a non-user handle a lightsaber. Wasn't even in a fight.
I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
With the prequels, George had a chance to show us what a fully trained Jedi could do with a lightsaber. And it was glorious. We had seen it as Luke and Vader's weapon. Now we were seeing it as a Jedi weapon. A powerful, scary weapon that required training and Force powers to control. You didn't see anyone just pick up a lightsaber and start swinging it around until, well, they started off strong. I'm in, take my money. I'm liking this. Man, he is powerful. No one's beating that dude. Then there was a bit of this. Whoa! Then they built up the importance of the weapon. I like this scene, but 2 films later, we still don't know why she saw those visions.
Well, actually, you're an idiot if you don't understand why she was seeing those scenes. Literally, you're an idiot, because the reason why she was seeing those scenes is because the Force was trying to lead her to Luke. Okay? The Force was literally trying to lead her to Luke. Now, a lot of people have postulated that it was probably either Obi-Wan or Yoda who was showing her that through the Force. A lot of people think it was Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan says, "Rey, these are your first steps." And I have to agree. I think it was, because I think he was actually trying to bring her back to... I think he was trying to bring Luke back from the brink, and because he'd been watching over him. I mean, he kind of felt responsible for leaving Luke all alone, okay? Because he had to fight Vader, and he had to sacrifice himself so that they could get off the Death Star, and he kind of felt responsible for leaving Luke in a lurch. Luke really didn't have a father figure. Luke had an uncle, a controlling uncle, and, you know, he was kind of stuck on a planet for 20 years of his life. And so, my problem with this guy is that he's like, well, 2 movies later, we still don't know why she's seeing this. We do know why she's seeing this, okay? Because the Force is showing her. This is the Force awakening inside of Rey. Okay? She's never really felt it this strong before, and now all of a sudden she touches the lightsaber hilt and she's seeing all these visions that she doesn't understand, but we as the audience were making these connections in our mind. Okay? Even if Rey isn't, we are. Okay? Because she's seeing this as, you know, it's like, okay, she sees the death of Luke's students. Why? Because then she understands Kylo's motivations later. It's why she can kind of empathize with him, because she goes to find Luke, and Luke's like, screw you, bitch, I ain't teaching you. She's struggling to find her place. She says that in this fucking film. She says, I need someone to show me my place in all this. And Luke's like, I don't know that I'm the one to do that. And that's why Yoda shows up and strikes down the tree and beats Luke over the head with his gimmer stick, because he's like, dude, wake up. You have to understand what's going on here. You are part of the problem. You are not being the solution. You are being part of the problem. You're sitting around stewing in your own failures when you should have been training this girl. What's wrong with you? And Luke's like, you're right, Yoda. I've been an idiot. Because he's like, we can't lose Rey. Yeah, you lost Kylo, and that's fine. You're going to lose apprentices. I did. Obi-Wan did. You did. But you have to learn from those failures, and you have to pass that along to the new apprentice, who is Rey. We can't lose her. That's why we see these scenes, because it gives Rey a good base from which to go on. And we're seeing whoever this is in this ship dropping her off on a planet as a young girl, so that we understand why she feels like she has to return to Jakku, because she feels like, if I leave, whoever this was that dropped me off is going to come back someday, and they're going to come and get me. And then they don't, and they don't, and they don't. And then she meets Finn, and she's like, I have to go back to Jakku. And Finn's like, what? No, you don't want to go back to that hellhole. That's not your home now. And then she fights Kylo Ren in the forest, and she opens herself up to the Force, and she realizes that she's the only one that can go to Luke and say, I need help, man. Help me. And she gets there, and she's like, here's a lightsaber. I know it's yours. Maz Kanata told me. Train me. And he's like, screw you. I'm not training anyone. And she doesn't understand. And we'll get back to this in a later part, but I need you to understand. There is a reason for that. And you will know more when episode 9 comes out. And when it does, you're going to look like an idiot. And you are going to go, oh, that's why those scenes. As I've said before, in numerous other videos, setup, revelation, payoff. We're in the revelation stage, folks. We haven't gotten to the payoff yet. Payoff's in episode 9. It's coming. December 2019. Later on this year. It's coming. But you can't take the revelation and go, well, I don't understand why they're not paying it off. Because it's not there yet. And I'm sick and tired of people doing this shit. You got it? It's a trilogy. 3 films. 3 frickin' films. Not 2. Not 1. 3. And you can't analyze any of them without the 3rd one. You can't. It doesn't work like that. It'd be like if people took episode 2 and were like, well, this is fucking stupid. Where's Vader? I mean, he just ended it with the Clone Wars. What the fuck, man? It's bullshit. Yeah, because we haven't gotten there yet. Okay? It's coming. Shut the fuck up until it gets here. Especially about shit like this. Okay? Because, number one, we know why she saw that. She saw that because she's seen Kylo Ren killing Luke's students. Okay? We don't know why he was killing those students until they do the slow reveal in this film. And we'll get to that in another section. But I just wanted to kind of finish this really quick, and then we're going to move on to the next part. I want to get through probably about the first couple more minutes into this, and then I'm going to end it in this section, and then we'll move on to the next section in the next one.
Then we have this, completely diluting the importance of the weapon. Oh, it's just like a baton, except it can burn straight through your own head. And this guy happens to have a buzzy baton that can block lightsabers. That's handy. To be fair, this guy's not bad. He actually does better than Kylo does later. Whoa! Nothing turns on a girl more than slaughtering your father right in front of her. What? Finn's gonna take on Kylo, a trained Jedi? Isn't Kylo just gonna... Right! Oh, good. Oh, no, hang on. He's gonna fight it out. Just put any other Force user that is trained with a light.
Okay. when we start the next section, I'm going to go heavily into this. But first off, Kylo is not a trained Force user. Okay? He's not a Sith. He's not this guy. Okay? Stop. Right now with that. He says it all through this thing. Well, Kylo's supposed to be a trained Jedi. No, he's not. He's not trained. Ever. He's an emo kid with daddy issues. So shut the fuck up about this shit. I am so sick and tired of these fuckers thinking that they know every single thing when they don't know jack shit. This guy's one of the worst of them. Okay, I could make videos for days on his crap about this. Okay, it's pissing me off. Kylo Ren is not a trained Force user. Lest we forget, in that forest scene, what happened right before that? Number one, what happened? Stabs his father. Okay? Number two, what did Chewbacca do in response to that? Boom! Pow! Right in the side. Okay? Number one, he's wounded. Number two, okay, he killed his father. Number three, he's fighting a trained stormtrooper. Now, a lot of people have argued, well, you know, Finn wasn't really into hand-to-hand combat. Well, no, he wasn't. That's obvious. He got his ass handed to him twice. Once by his First Order stormtrooper, and once by Kylo Ren. Now, he held his own against Kylo Ren for a little while. Okay? But let's look at this from another standpoint. Okay, when he's like, oh, he's got a fuzzy little baton that can block lightsabers. Yes. If you know anything about lore of the Star Wars universe, you'll know that there are materials that can block Jedi weapons, that can block lightsabers. Okay? I have a book which I will bring out that I will talk about. Is it canon? I don't know, but this is basically where we're going to start from. Okay? And lest we forget that in the original trilogy, not the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, 1, 2, and 3, okay, we saw people blocking lightsaber energy, or the Force lightning energy, with lightsabers. So, if electricity can block, if somebody can shoot Force lightning and a lightsaber can block it, wouldn't the principle of the reverse be true then? Wouldn't certain electrical charges block lightsabers? It seems likely, in my mind, that if I can hold up my lightsaber and block Force lightning, then wouldn't somebody be able to figure out, well, if I had an electrically charged weapon of a certain polarity, it could block a lightsaber? Now, lest we forget, Snoke is not a saber combatist. He doesn't know how to build lightsabers. Okay, he is just merely a powerful Force user. That's it. That's all he is. And he idolizes the Empire. That's how he built the First Order, because he basically took the remnants of the Empire and put them together into the First Order. And he basically said, look, the Emperor's training programs didn't work. So guess what? We're going to do something completely different. We're going to have to, instead of just getting conscripts and throwing them in stormtrooper armor and pushing them out in front of people and going, hey, cannon fodder. They smash a planet, grab all the younglings, train them up into stormtroopers with no memory of their family, no memory of their past, no memory of anything, and they're given numbers. They literally have no identity other than to just be order takers. They're literally built to be one thing and one thing only, and that's a stormtrooper. Blindly following orders, whether they know they're right or not. It is literally just, hey, we tell you to do something, you do it, no matter what. That's it. And as far as we know, no one's ever broken away from that except for one man. Finn. Okay? And he's called a traitor the whole entire time. Kylo Ren calls him that. The other stormtrooper calls him that. And people are like, he's like, traitor, and it's like, yeah. Even Phasma calls him that in this film. Like, you always scum. Rebel scum. I love that part. Unless we forget, in this movie, he actually owns Phasma. Okay? Even though Phasma's had a lot more hand-to-hand combat training from her growth up on Parnassus. If you've read the Phasma novel. Okay? She was a prolific hand-to-hand fighter. Okay? And I don't think we've seen the last of her yet. But that being said, Kylo Ren is not Darth Maul. He's not Count Dooku. He's not Anakin Skywalker. Hell, he's not even Luke Skywalker. Okay? He doesn't know how to fight effectively. Okay? That's evident in his style. It's evident in the fact that he couldn't even build a damn lightsaber. And we'll get into that. So I've been rambling on now for about 35, 36 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and call this episode. Okay? So this has been episode 1 of my rebuttal of Disney Doesn't Understand Lightsabers by Robot Head. And I am going to get back into this. Okay? In the next episode, we're going to pick up from here. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the differences between where Kylo Ren is at and where Force users are at, and we're going to talk a lot more about Rey. Okay? Because he goes on about how Rey is like, well, she should be cutting herself in half with a lightsaber because she's been staff fighting. No. But we'll get into that. Okay? So this has been Russ's Movie Corner. Thank you for watching.